You are tuned into About This Love podcast with myself, Dale, and my wife, Sherelle. This is a continuation of last week's Power Couple. This is part 2. Let's continue the conversation.
Was this person married?
I don't know who it was. I mean, I didn't even turn around to see who it was.
Look, I always ask that because
they probably just joking, but I mean,
no, it's some underlying stuff. With that, they might be joking on the surface, but
what's interesting,
a lot of people are afraid.
What's interesting is, like I said, like when I speak to some of my female friends, it was like, well, who asked, like, well, I asked my boyfriend, when we gonna get married, and he doesn't respond, and I'm thinking to myself, he probably don't want to get married, like he ain't gonna like. And I told my wife this when we got married. I said, for men are very simple. It's either we do or we don't. Like, it's either I want to marry you or I don't want to marry you. And I think for women, they have a hard time, like, kind of understanding that. It's like men are very simple. Like, it's either I wanted to marry my wife. Like, I would say probably about 4 months into knowing my wife, I knew I was going to marry her, And I actually told, I remember one of my friends asked me, well, do you see yourself marrying her? I was like, yeah, because there was just something in her that I wasn't able to call it out naturally or say anything. I knew it was all spiritual, but I knew I was going to marry my wife. So, like, when I hear, my female friends say, well, I don't know if he wants to marry me. In my mind, I'm thinking, he doesn't, idiot. He's not going to marry you, because it's like, again, men are very simple. Either he wants to marry you or he doesn't.
Well, hold on.
And on top of that, I work with men. I work with all men. And these are things that we talk about all day.
Okay, yes, you work with men, but there's other people in situations where they work with men, and it's like they can talk about it all day, but they could be telling you one thing and then telling a female another thing, but then telling the people they're with another thing. So,
of course.
I mean, that doesn't mean anything. So when you said you wanted to marry me, and let's pinpoint, it wasn't because, I had something to bring to the table financially. Because at that time, I'm sure we were both broke. We were both like living check to check.
I wasn't broke.
Oh, you wasn't broke because you were single, but now you married and you broke.
I wasn't broke.
Oh man, because a wife come at a high price. Yeah. But yeah. But emphasizing that you weren't looking at me as a financial gain.
I mean, nah. I think there's more. I think there's more to life. Personally, me, I think there's more to life than a financial gain. Now, I will say that in times that I have been sick or not been able to work, my wife working definitely has been a benefit to our family. But it's not. But I mean, that's not something that I care about as a whole. Nah, that's irrelevant. Because I married specifically for love. That's why I married.
So what about the days where you don't feel in love? Like, so people who marry for love and they don't feel in love, like maybe a month in, and then they get a divorce. It just kind of goes back to, what does that look like? And it's become so normalized that because we emulate our relationships from these, we emulate our relationships after these celebrities who they it's a whole circle when you look at it. And Brad Pitt back with Jennifer Aniston, that was a whirlwind relationship, and supposedly Angelina Jolie had stole him away, and it's almost like. And remember, they were Brangelina for like the longest, while they were adopting all the kids and stuff. They were Brangelina.
Well.
And so, so my question is, what in you, guided you to make that decision? Because it's based on, well, I don't know any other relationship, relationships that I've seen back at home. They were broken. Mama, was with Uncle Jim, Uncle Bob, Uncle da-da-da.
Okay.
Father was never there. And I seen him on a birthday, on a special day.
Well,
hold on. Let me finish my question.
Go ahead.
And father was on, he was away in the army, or, there was movies about that where the mothers told lies to the children about where the father was, that he was away in the army or incarcerated, but really he had a whole nother family down the street. So it's almost like, what exactly what exactly there, like when do we set the standard, into making our choice of mate, of lifetime partners,
Well, I think for me, and again, me and my wife had to have these conversations when we were friends, and even after we dated, when we were dating, I remember saying to her specifically, like, I'm not gonna be someone's boyfriend, for 5 and 6 years. Like,
You said to your wife that?
yeah, I remember telling you that. I remember telling you that I would give you 2 years, 2.5 years max. I said after that, if you haven't decided, I mean, I'm gonna chuck deuces, because it's like,
Well, hold on, but we weren't. You have to specify, because we weren't necessarily dating. We were developing a friendship.
but I think at that point, we were subconsciously dating.
Well, yeah, I
We
mean,
just never put a name on it.
Look. Since I started talking to you on the phone, it's like we was together, even though we didn't say we were together, but we was together.
And I think and so for us, one of the things that I can highlight is that specifically you and I, Dale and Sherelle, we had standards. We had standards
and that was made known.
That we talked about. We made known what we expected, and we also made it clear that if and I remember telling my wife. when we were dating, I said, listen, I said, Sherelle, if at any time you don't feel like I'm the one, or I feel like you're not the one, I'll let you know, and I'll just be gone. I won't waste your time. But I think subconsciously, which is sad, a lot of men and women, they sit and waste their time. They waste their time with somebody they've been in a relationship with 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, knowing that they don't want to marry you. And it's like, that's sad.
Maybe there's hope. I mean, well, and here's the thing. Yes, you make it known, but there are some people out there who say things like I had encountered, way before I met you, I had encountered someone who just kind of were saying the right things just so I can stay around out of fear of me looking elsewhere. And it wasn't like I was. I mean, it was just my son and I, and me going to work and coming home. And it was almost like, I had nothing else. I had nothing else going on, and nor did I care to have anything else going on. So then when you and I met, it started off as a genuine friendship, but then it also turned into, okay, we're starting to hang out a lot. Let's actually talk this through. Like, let's not label it, because, the world always wants us to label things, but let's make it clear between you and I what's going on. Yeah. We're exclusive. So what's going on and what the expected outcome is, and let's work towards that. And so, I mean, just like anything, I think these couples in the limelight, they're not doing that. I feel like when you hear unsung, or you hear, behind the scenes, or they have their life story documented after they come out of, acting or singing or whatever background, they were in, you hear them say like, oh, well, my, what are they called, Dale? My publicist had put me with that person at that time, and it's because we were working on a movie together. Like Sanaa Lathan and I don't remember the guy's name.
Omar Epps.
Is it Omar Epps? Yeah, and Omar Epps, Love and Basketball. They were, I mean, come on now, we're human, so we see that relationship. We love it how it turned out in Love and Basketball. They ended up together. Gabrielle Union, just kind of was a fly on the wall, and she was shooed out the way. And even Tyra Banks, who he was actually engaged to, if y'all didn't see the movie. And so, she just wasn't it. She wasn't the one he loved. And so we look for those relationships in our lives, but also, it seems like after, off screen, behind the scenes, the publicist or whoever was in their circle put them together, or kind of push them, nudge them to be together, because they were making movies together at that time. They were together.
But people don't understand though. Like one of the things people don't understand, like just on a level. I know me and my coworkers were having a conversation about this, and it was like, people don't understand that celebrities and professional athletes, they live on a completely different level than what we live on.
But hold on.
So let me say something real quick, man. So trying to compare yourself to them, first of all, is a no-no, because they can go they can buy a woman if they want to, or they can buy a man if they want to. Like, I'm just saying, like,
Buy a woman.
you can't buy a man, you can't buy a woman, so they can
Well-
buy love. You can't buy love. I mean, especially if you just a regular a Joe and Sarah, you can't buy no love.
I mean, but here's the thing though. People nowadays, I feel like people are making the money or getting the careers to feel like they can still do that. There are like sugar mamas and sugar daddies, and they are not celebrities. They are everyday people, buying a date on a credit card.
They're not happy though.
But celebrities aren't happy.
Most of the, yeah,
Celebrities are not happy, and that's why
you're
you
right.
see. I mean, like really, that's why you see the falling of relationships so quickly. You see it, and they're in the tabloids. Like, oh, look who's dating. Oh, they got secretly married. They ran off and. 6 months later, how many times did Kim Kardashian get married? Let's look at that. I mean, I believe, I think it was like 2-3 times. And, and not to say that, we're idolizing that, but I'm trying to speak to the fact that even if they have money, even if they're not regular everyday blow Joes, they still have feelings and relationships. And I mean, essentially people try to emulate the people that they idol. They try to emulate these celebrities because they did not have these relationships in their homes. And it's like, well, dang, like this person got money, they look good. If only I could look good, and if only I could, find someone who looks good too, then we can be that power couple together, and we can get married and do anything.
But I think initially it really goes back to what I was saying. When we initially started, and what you were saying, like people actually oftentimes don't understand history. They don't understand that again, trying to just because Tony Romo made $150 million with the Dallas Cowboys, and he's married to whoever he's married to. I mean, again, it doesn't make him a great father. It doesn't make him a great husband. What it makes him is a rich professional athlete. That's what it makes him. So, or Candy on the Atlanta Housewives. Like just because she has all that money, beautiful, nice body, doesn't mean she's a great wife. Doesn't mean she's a great mom. It just means she's a beautiful, very rich black woman. That's all it means. And I think oftentimes we don't look as human beings. Period. But especially as African Americans, we don't look and search for our history. Did my wife grow up in a family where she saw or understood how to be a wife, where she saw and understood how to be a mom? And if the answer to that is no, then I can't expect her to be a good mom. I can't expect her to be a good wife. Did my husband grow up in a household where his father was there, where his father treated his mother nice, where his father instilled in them moral and spiritual principles? If the answer to that is no, then it's like, I don't care who he is. He can be rich, he can be good in the bed, she can be good in the bed. At the end of the day, that's it. I think that
it could be another Chris Brown and Rihanna situation where they found love in a hopeless place, and then she's getting beat on.
Yeah. So for us, just to kind of bring it, take us around home plate. I think for a lot of us, when engaging in relationships, one of the things that I did want to say is that it's me and my wife, when we were friends and in a relationship together, courting. One of the things that we did was we did a lot of deep digging. Like we talked about our history, our past, and when I say history, I'm talking about like even like her mom, her dad, because it's like that stuff is important. It's like I didn't come up in a household where my father was a good role model. My father was in and out of prison my whole life. My mom was basically the breadwinner up until the time that she passed away when I was 20 years old. My mom was the one making money in the house, paying bills. My father was in and out of prison, so it's let me finish. I didn't have a good example of a husband or a father. So it's like trying to get married, saying I'm going to be the best husband that I can be or the best father that I can be, even at its best, it's limited because I had a poor example of that.
Well, and I think that's why people don't want to get married. I've heard a lot of people say, well, my father wasn't around, so, I don't want to have kids, or I seen how poorly my mother was treated, so I can never trust a man. And I've heard a lot of that from people who have both mother and father in the home. Father could be sitting right there a few steps away, and they have absolutely no respect for them. And it's like, wow, really? You know, it's like that. Like, I mean, the shocker to that is, I mean, the one thing that I can take from what you said is, yes, look into that, but no, I don't think that should hinder you from,
not at all.
I don't think that should hinder you from getting married, but I think that should give you a deeper look as to, you know, the mate that you select, or, you know, or that cross your path, and whether you should pursue it or not. And also, you know, if you are with somebody, you need to start asking these questions and wonder, where is it going? Like, how often have we been in a friendship, a relationship, even with our family members, and, you know, stopped and said, what are we doing exactly? You know, where is this going? You know, because you keep getting this same feeling of like, man, they just mistreat me, and you don't know how to pinpoint it and put your finger on it. They are treating our kids, you know, he is treating my kids this way because he didn't have a father and he don't know. Or, dang, you know, she is kind of, you know, agitated in these situations. And every time I ask her, you know, why doesn't she clean the house? I mean, you know, because I seen my mother clean the house, so why doesn't she clean the house this way? You know, it's a full blow up.
Yeah.
Or why don't we, you know, why doesn't she call me pet names or this and that? It's like a full out brawl. And, you know, we don't realize that people have those past hurts that they may not have even thought about before entering into a relationship or even staying out of one, you know. And once we begin to address that, we can start to move forward.
Start to build, you know.
Yeah, and start to build with the next person that comes along, and not the next person that comes along, but the next person that comes along, we can actually sit there and say, hey, so what type of conversation you want to have today? You want to just ask me how my day was going, what you doing, or you want to talk about what's on my heart, or you know, I was thinking about you, and, you know, I really wanted you to know this about me. You know, I'm kind of broken, and I may lash out, and I may have anger issues, but are you willing to stay here for the long haul? Like, those people who have actually had those conversations and have walked that out and have successfully gotten married, and they're still happy and in love in their marriage, and it's no facade. I think that those are the true power couples. And even the ones who are in the limelight, who have had those conversations and, you know, didn't show that on Love and Hip Hop or on a documentary or what have you, they're not on the red carpet. You know, I think those are the true power couples that we don't see, but we need to start looking for. You know, we need to start seeking those people out, even in our own spheres. And if we don't have people like that even in our own circles, it's almost like, well, where can I find these people? Let me look these up. Let me listen to, you know, let me find somebody who's actually talking about this, who's talking about their hurts and who overcame. You know, I feel like that's a lot of why people that's a lot of reason why people don't get married too. It's not because they don't want to, but it's because, or it's not because they don't want to, because of a because, you know, they just don't want to, they want to be selfish, but it's because they have been hurt. They have seen others, you know, be hurt in their childhood, in their adulthood, you know, who are close to them, and they shy away. They're like, you know, I'd rather just be me than be hurt.
And also, I know a lot of people, men and women both do it. Like, they come into a new relationship, you know, just with a lot of the old baggage that the last person may have caused. And while I know some of that is not preventable, because it's just, we're human beings, and we just, certain things happen to us emotionally, we just retain it. But I think, you know, also we can step into a relationship with a new mind frame. You know, we can step into a relationship, you know, with like new experiences and expecting new
being
things.
Open to that.
Yeah, and just being open to it. And I would like to say also, I know one of the things that always baffles me is that when you see men and women who want to be married or want to be, you know, in a thriving relationship, hanging around people who are not in one, it's like, well, you're getting advice from people who are not in a thriving relationship. They sleeping around. They ain't getting married. it's obvious they ain't never getting married, but you're hanging around with them. Why don't you befriend some people who may be married or moving towards that and are in a good relationship, so they can be able to give you some advice. Because one of the things that I think that I appreciated more before me and my wife got married is that most of our married friends, they told us like straight up, like, and they was like, I hope the things we telling you don't discourage you from marriage, but we want to keep it real with you. We want to let you know that it's work. Like, it's hard.
Mhm.
It's gonna be days where you feel like packing up and leaving. But I mean, that's just days where you get up and you feel that way. Just keep, just pray, and tell your wife, husband, I love you, and keep it moving. And I think for a lot of people, you have to have those good support units in your life. You have to. I can't be a great business owner without first having other individuals around me who are good at business.
Yeah.
That's how I get good.
Well, hold on. So let's take it back a little bit, because I did want to ask you. So you said that, you can go into a relationship. Yeah, you can enter into a new relationship and be open to the new experiences. But I mean, like, how can you do that? You just say, okay, this something new, I'm gonna go into it,
Well,
or I mean, because you're still the same person.
Well, I think it's
I mean, what about people who go back into a relationship? You're still that same person.
okay. Let me start by saying this first. Well, back in 2008, I was engaged. The young lady that I was engaged to, she basically broke up with me after she cheated on me. And it took me about 3 to 5 years to get over that. That's number one.
Did you date in that time?
No, I didn't, and I think that's something that a lot of people, they don't, when they get out of a relationship with somebody, they jump right back into one. It's like you need time to. I needed, me personally. I can't speak for my wife or anybody else, but me personally, I needed time to get that person out of my system. I needed time to allow that hurt to heal. So I feel like from 2008 to 2010. I didn't date, and I think I dated someone in 2010, but because I recognized that we didn't have the same motives, we didn't have the same agendas, our life wasn't going to go in the same path, and just we just had different moral beliefs and moral standards. I broke up with her, and I told her that, and we had a conversation. We still stayed friends for a while. Then after that, we didn't talk no more. But it was like, I'm the kind of person. I'm always upfront about what I want in a relationship. And if you can't give me that, I'm okay with that. I'll move on. But I think oftentimes, so one, giving yourself time to heal and get over a person. 2, getting to a point where the person that you're in a relationship with knows what you want and what you desire, and you guys agree that you're okay, we're gonna both pursue that. And if not, let's go ahead and break up and call it quits now before we end up 5 years into a relationship and still we not happy. We ain't getting married. We ain't having no kids, or we got a kid, but you trapped me. I ain't really want no kid. It's like, no, let's not even do that, And so by the time I met my wife in 2015, so from 2010 to 2015, I didn't date. I met my wife.
Wait, so hold on. You dated, and so
I was engaged to somebody in 2008.
In 2008, and then and then you guys broke up.
Yeah.
And then until
I was
2010.
I was dumped.
Oh, I'm sorry. You were dumped in 2010?
No,
I'm sorry. You were dumped in 2008. And then in 2008 you were single, but then in 2010 you were single, but then you were dating, but then from 2010 to 2015, so maybe 2011 to 2015.
Yeah, okay, yeah, you're right. That time frame was kind of off, yeah.
Yeah, because you kept saying 2010, and I'm like, first
the
this dude was
last
single.
That long. It didn't last that long. And,
yeah,
and I think.
Did you have to get over that relationship too? I mean, I'm pretty sure it didn't take. If it was a short relationship, I'm pretty sure it didn't take until 2015.
But I think and I'll speak on behalf of you, babe. I mean, I could be wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. But I think
you wrong.
When I got with my wife, I think she appreciated. I was the kind of guy who I knew what I wanted from a woman, and I said it up front. Like, after I got comfortable enough with her and I saw I was going somewhere, I was like, hey, it seems like this relationship is going somewhere. Before we even go there, I just want to let you know this is what I expect. A, B, C, and D. I'm not gonna be someone's boyfriend for 5 to 10 years. So I give you 2.5 years max, and then from there, if we got a good understanding, we can get married. If not, deuces. But
what
you wanted the same thing, so.
Well, I didn't. Well, I wasn't as rigorous as like in 2 years if we ain't got it together. But I definitely. But hold on.
I was just saying I'm not gonna waste my time.
I mean, I know that, but basically, I wasn't as rigorous as that. I didn't put a time frame on it.
But you went along with it, though, right?
You said no. I mean, I didn't go along with that because those were your standards.
We married now.
I mean, yeah, we're married, and we got married, and it was like
a year and 2 months.
Yeah, and
to be exact, it was dating.
Yes, but here's my thing though. Like the point I'm getting to isn't the fact that like I went along with your standards because like I wanted to be with you, but it was that we both came to the table not with a financial, contract, or not even with a relationship contract, but with a standard that was, okay, well, you said, you want to be married in 2 years. And I just know I want to be married in general. So whether it be in 5 years, as long as we're working towards that, because a lot of people do wait to get married because of financial reasons.
Yeah,
weddings are expensive. So typically the engagement is prolonged because of the financial, those who actually prolong their engagement due to financial reasons. But it was still like, no, this is what we're working towards. Even in that time, I didn't care about the timeline only because this is what we were working towards. We were talking about it. We were actively, going to couples counseling, individual counseling. This was like the meat of our conversation. This was the bulk of what we discussed. I remember the day that it got serious with you and I.
What day was that? I don't remember a specific day.
I remember the specific day.
If you remember a specific day, then you are good.
Well, I think because I posted on social media that day a picture of us walking around the park. But that
we wasn't dating, Sherelle. We was not dating then.
We weren't dating then. No, but I remember that was the day that the conversation had got serious. And the conversations after that, like, yeah, we joked around, but then we made sure that we checked in that we were on the same plan.
Do you know what I remember?
Well, hold on. Let me tell you this day. This day, you were like, so, if and when we decide to get married, and it wasn't even like, if one day, well, when one day. It was like, no, when we get married, these things are going to have to be put into place as far as like, this is what I believe as far as maybe accounts, medical insurance, who's going to be on whose insurance, who's going to move where. And at this time, I had my own place and I was like, we could talk that out. I know it's a 1-bedroom and, I have a child, but we can work it out because my place is nice. I'm comfortable. But I still, I said that and we really worked towards figuring those things out. It wasn't just, I said it sounded good. I was glamorized by what you were saying.
My place was bigger than yours, and my rent was more affordable than yours.
Well, hold on.
So that made it much more easier.
Not at that time. Not that day that we had that conversation. You were living with your mother.
Hey, you got to put this on you like were living,
that. But your goal. But let's put it out there.
No, my mom was staying with me. No. She was staying with me.
Yeah, that's what them Bama's all say. Yeah, no, this is my place. My uncle living on my couch. Like, yeah, okay, bro. Like let's check the lease on that one.
Okay, correction. But, I was staying at home with my mom. Correction.
Well, yeah. But there's nothing wrong with that because you had a goal in mind. Your goal was to pay off as much debt as possible, save up money for the next step. But you had something in place. You were working towards that. Same with our standards. My standard in place was I'm not sleeping with anybody or getting into a relationship with anybody unless it's for sure on the table that we would be getting married. And I like you, it wasn't like I was saying, the next person that come by, but the next person who was willing to open up and share their heart and work towards something.
And you know what?
And it's not shallow. That's not shallow.
You said it. Like, I was thinking to myself when you were talking, I was like, a lot of women, they talk, they coach, they kind of, not knowingly, they kind of tell the guy what they want, so the guy kind of coaches himself to say what they just said. But with you, like, I think, like, I don't, like, you was like, I don't feel like you really let me know what you wanted or what you desired until I till I had put mine out there first, and it took months because I was like, man, I'm like, man, like she don't really talk too much because it's like a lot of women. Well, I want to be married by the time I'm 30 years old, and I want a house over here.
Men will buy right into that. Yeah, girl, I want you to meet my mama.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, yeah, baby, I want to marry you. I want 5 kids too. Yeah, baby. It's like, no, they don't. They just saying that to get them draws. You know?
Oh my gosh, don't say that.
I mean,
and kids, please exit the room.
Like when women, I think I heard it. I heard a guy saying one time, women stop talking so much. Like let the guy talk. Mm-hmm. Let him share his goals and dreams with you. And if you're talking to a guy and he doesn't mention the word marriage, and he's probably not interested in the marriage. I'm not saying he's not interested in the marriage now, but you know, in reality, most, you know, statistically, most women entertain the thought of marriage before men do.
Well, yeah, because we mature a lot faster than men, just naturally, than little boys do when we're little girls. Oh, what I'm saying is, you know, even when we're in our adolescent stage, we mature much faster, and they say that's why guys play video games as long as they do, and women kind of, you know, they ready to run whole households at the age of like 16, 17.
I don't know about all that.
I mean, no, I'm exaggerating. However, you know, we have those thoughts, middle school, high school. Oh, I want to be a mother. I want to be a wife. We do, you know, if that's a desire that's in our heart at that time, we do want that. We do long for that at an early age. And so, I mean, we just kind of prepare our lives to do that in the best way we kind of think we know how. I mean, if we're not career driven, like the friends of ours that you mentioned earlier, the wife, she said, you know, even though she went to college and finished college, she had shared a story with me a few months back where she said, you know, I'm finishing up my internship, just graduated, and, you know, our instructor asked me, you know, well, what do you want to do after you leave here? And so she says, oh, well, you know, I want to be a housewife. And it wasn't to say the housewife is the end all be all, it's the greatest thing ever, but it spoke to her heart and how, yes, she has, you know, this degree, but, you know, I want to put my all into, you know, my relationship right now. And they didn't have kids at the time.
Yeah. It's also interesting, you know, one of the couple that actually counseled us in marriage counsel, the wife actually, she was a working mother and wife, and she went to be a house mom, and then she said that you know, for a while she didn't like it, that she went back to work, but then after she went back to work, I think about like probably about a month or so, a month or two, she actually ended up quitting her job. Well, they ended up let her like work from home, like part time, because it wasn't even part time.
I think there's only one part time.
Well, it wasn't really part time. It was like part time.
No, there's only one part time. You either work full time, you work part time.
But basically, she didn't work that much. But basically, they wanted her so much that they let her like work.
Like choose her schedule.
Yeah, whatever day she wanted to. And basically, one of the things that she said, which that stuck with me, was that she said, you know, she realized that the house, her house and her children appreciated her being home, appreciated her more than a job or a company ever would. And I think I was like, wow, that is powerful. You know, your family, which is your children and your husband, will definitely benefit and appreciate more you being home than a company or a boss ever will, you know, just far as longevity wise. And I think that's one thing that, you know, if you are, you know, a career aspiring woman, there's nothing wrong with that. But just know that, you know, if in the context of marriage, you know, you'll definitely be appreciated more by your husband and, you know, your children.
Because those are the lifelong relationships, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you know, a job, you get sick, you go on maternity leave, they'll job you like a hotcake. So I do.
Replace you.
Huh?
So they'll replace you.
Or they'll replace you. And I think what you're speaking to is not just, oh, be a housewife because it's the greatest thing ever, but I don't think it's just be a housewife because that's the greatest thing ever, but more so, you know where to put your time and energy,
when resources into
and resources when you have those relationships, there is a season where you may have to, you're starting your own business. You're this career-driven woman, entrepreneur, and you do have to put a lot of time and energy into that relationship. But then, also, when is that time where, we go back to the interview, we go back to the article, and, this house just can't sit here and look pretty. It must function independently as a backup system for a two-career couple. So when do you go back home and put that love and attention into your home and be that true power couple where, your friends and family who looked up to you, who had hope in you, aren't discouraged, or the children coming after you aren't discouraged because you have fallen away, because you failed to remember to put that energy and love back into your home. So, we're coming to a close in this conversation, but, that's all we have for you today here on About This Love. Once again, follow us on About This Love on Facebook, Instagram, and Mixcloud. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time.
Peace.